little things. Welcome to the Rise Weekly Review for December 28th, 2020 through January 4th, 2021. Area violence continued to spill into the new year with the shooting in South Chicago just 12 minutes into 2021.
The victim's family said a bullet came through the window. They were shooting from a block east of this location.
The shooting occurred on 87th and Buffalo and left both a man and a woman injured. The man and woman were sitting in their living room when gunshots rang out and bullets flew through their home. Both received wounds to the head. The man was directly stricken and the woman was grazed. Both were taken to the University of Chicago Medical Center and both were last reported in critical condition. News outlets captured comments from the woman's brother who was visiting from out of town who stated in Spanish the family was in shock from the incident. They also interviewed several neighbors following the incident, including one in Spanish.
No escuchamos nada, le digo, estábamos pisteando ahí con mi familia, escuchando música y de repente me asomé a la ventana y miré muchas sirenas.
It's scary. It keeps on it makes me think if it's safe for us to step outside.
A few times, like, people get shot from just straight bullets. Just to be on the safe side, I just tell my son, hey, let's just lay down on the floor and just watch TV, just in case something come through by accident or on purpose.
Police recovered a gun near the scene, but no one was yet reported in custody. A woman was charged on Thursday in the fatal shooting of a Calumet City woman. The woman, identified as 61-year-old Kim Barreto, allegedly shot and killed her roommate in a Calumet City apartment. Her roommate, identified as 45-year-old Pamela Burns, was found shot multiple times on Sunday the 27th. The shooting took place around 5:40 a.m. at the apartment located on the 100 block of Oglesby. Barreto fled to Maryville, where she turned herself in. On Thursday, she was extradited to Cook County, where she was charged. Investigators claimed the shooting stemmed from a domestic dispute. 2 Chicago police officers were sent to a hospital for observations following a crash on Sunday near the border of South Shore and South Chicago. The incident happened around 9:40 p.m. near the 2100 block of East 79th Street. The officers were driving when their car was struck by another vehicle that was turning at the intersection. News sources suggest the officers did not have emergency lights on or sirens activated during the crash. Citations are pending for the driver, only identified as a 32-year-old male. The officers were sent to a local area hospital for observations, but no injuries were reported. The man involved in the crash refused medical care. A fire in South Shore left 2 people injured. The fire department responded to a fire near the 7800 block of South Kingston at a residential building. The fire occurred on Monday the 28th. The fire department reported that 2 people were injured during the fire. They were taken to area hospitals after suffering from smoke inhalation. Emergency crews were called to a home in South Chicago early Sunday when a roof collapsed on a family's home. The incident occurred around 1 a.m. at a home located on 83rd and Saginaw. The homeowner, identified as Lynn Neighbors, claims her home was previously damaged when a tree struck the home in August during a storm. The damage was not repaired. The problem continued to get worse. On Sunday, the roof caved in and fallen bricks and debris were left all around the house. The family was last reported looking for temporary shelter. The city of Chicago dealt a setback to RMG's plans to open their new metal shredder. A news article published on Tuesday discusses a letter sent by Chicago Department of Public Health officials on the 23rd about the permit application. The letter outlines nearly 3 dozen deficiencies in Reserve Management Group's application for their submitted operating permit application. RMG was asked in the letter to submit an entirely new application. Among the points are a lack of detail on the company's plan to prevent explosions, stormwater pollution prevention, vehicle emissions, and an explanation for the use of a caustic additive in the stormwater treatment plant. Failure by the company to meet these requirements can result in a permit denial. However, in anticipation of its permit approval, RMG has officially closed down its Northside facility this week. In other environmental news, the Cook County Land Bank is in talks with the company that wants to build a solar farm near the old Acme coal plant near 114th and Torrance. The land bank is considering a 35-year lease of the land to a California solar company named SunPower. SunPower is known for developing a 41-acre solar plant in 2010 in West Pullman. The Pullman site sits on 41 acres and generates approximately 9 megawatts of power, or enough to power 1,500 homes a year. The land has been long abandoned, with millions in back tax dollars owed to the county. The land bank typically clears back taxes on properties to allow it to be sold. In this case, the land bank is considering a lease offer as opposed to the sale. While some environmental groups support the idea, others want the land to be used for a park. Still others are fine with the solar power development provided the community can somehow benefit. In national news, a leaked audio of Donald Trump pressuring Georgia election officials to overturn the election results has caused some to accuse him of election fraud. In the audio leaked to the Washington Post, Trump can be heard going back and forth with officials accusing them of certifying fake results. The officials stand fast on the results, denying several wide fraud conspiracy claims by Trump.
Now, do you think it's possible that they shredded ballots in Fulton County? Because that's what the rumor is. And also that Dominion took out machines. That Dominion is really moving fast to get rid of their machinery. Do you know anything about that? Because that's illegal.
This is Ryan, Germany. No, Dominion has not moved any machinery out of Fulton County. We're having.
Well, but have they moved? Have they moved the inner parts of the machines and replaced them with other parts?
No.
You sure, Ryan?
I'm sure.
Trump was also heard in the video telling Georgia officials to find enough votes to overturn the results.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
He urged them to recalculate results in areas he lost and involve people determined to find fraud in the process.
So tell me, Brad, what are we going to do? We won the election, and it's not fair to take it away from us like this. And it's going to be very costly in many ways. And I think you have to say that you're going to re-examine it, and you can re-examine it, but re-examine it with people that want to find answers, not people that don't want to find answers. You're not allowed to give faulty election results, okay? You're not allowed to do that, and that's what you've done. This is a faulty election result. And honestly, this should go very fast. You should meet tomorrow, because you have a big election coming up, and because of what you've done to the president, you know, the people of Georgia know that this was a scam. And because of what you've done to the president, a lot of people aren't going out to vote. And a lot of Republicans are going to vote negative because they hate what you did to the president. Okay, they hate it, and they're going to vote. And if you would be respected, if this thing could be straightened out before the election. You have a big election coming up on Tuesday.
This has led some to accuse Trump of breaking both state and federal laws. However, it is unlikely he will face any charges. Congress is set to certify the results on January 6, with Biden being sworn into office on the 20th. In other national news, the houses of both Republican Senate leader Mitch McConnell and Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi were vandalized last week. Their homes were both spray painted with messages related to the stimulus vote. On McConnell's home, the messages stated, "Where's my money?" and "Mitch kills the poor," with profanity directed at him written in other places. On Pelosi's home, a severed pig's head was left in front of her garage, along with the messages, "Cancel rent," and "We want everything." In other news, the girlfriend of the man accused of a suicide bombing in Nashville, Tennessee claimed she warned police about him. Police interacted with the woman in 2019, identified as Pamela Perry, after getting a report that she was making suicidal threats. When police arrived at the home, they found her with 2 guns that she said belonged to Tony Warner and that she didn't want them in her house. She was sent to a mental health facility for treatment. According to the woman's attorney, officers visited his home, but officers reported he did not care for police and would not permit a visual inspection of the RV. Investigators have still not found a motive for the bombing. Back in local news, a series of new laws that come into effect during the new year have some local residents on edge. Among the changes is a controversial rule change in speed camera ticketing. Under the new rules, drivers who are caught by cameras driving 5 miles over the limit will receive a ticket. Currently, only drivers driving over 10 miles per hour receive a ticket. Under the new rules, drivers driving 5 miles over will receive a $35 ticket, and over 10 miles will receive a $100 ticket.
I think it's just a simple way, and they don't really want to put time or effort into thinking about something else.
It's tiring that they try to squeeze every penny out of us. They should try to find another way. There's plenty things that they spend money on that they shouldn't be.
Super strict. That ain't fair.
People are already suffering enough, so why make it more stressful on them?
The city gonna get their money regardless.
The state has also new laws that include an insulin cost cap of $100 per month, in addition to a minimum wage increase from $10 per hour to $11 per hour. Law enforcement agencies can now also use DNA samples for missing people, in addition to providing an option for victims of domestic abuse to substitute addresses. And finally, a few quick announcements. First, the Whiting Crossroads YMCA, located on 1938 Clark Street, has been helping families both in Northwest Indiana and Chicago's Southeast Side for years. The Y reopened in June and has currently instituted strict safety precautions to keep members using their services safe during the COVID pandemic. Crossroads offers youth development, sports, aquatics, gymnastics, dance and cheer, and other programs that young children, adults, teens, and elderly can all enjoy. They are currently registering families for classes that begin in January, including swimming classes. More information on the services they offer can be obtained at crymca.org or by calling 219-370-5091. And finally, as we discuss ways to rebuild and reshape our communities, always remember it's the little things that often have the greatest impact. On Tuesday, December 22nd, a woman named Victoria posted on our local Facebook group about her daughter's 7-month-old cat, Benny, who went missing on the east side. Her daughter was desperately posting flyers around the area looking for Benny to no avail. We all hear stories like these, but many paid him no mind. However, in this case, a woman by the name of Jacqueline Perea not only paid attention, but managed to rescue Benny. After finding Benny, Jacqueline went out of her way to find and contact Victoria. We are happy to report that Benny is now home with his family. While some of you might be asking why a missing cat is so important, especially in a struggling area in a time of crisis, the thing is, it isn't only about Benny. It's about people in our community coming together, connecting, and finding ways to help each other out in our times of need. The things some people feel are small, to others mean the world, and help spread love. And in times of desperation, showing love can help turn things around. A shout out to Jacqueline Perea for saving Benny's life and showing love in our community. You're a hero. And that ends our weekly review for December 28, 2020 through January 4, 2021. Thank you for joining us for this week in review. Peace.